I have come across the best stock on the stock market. I believe it will make me and many other people watching a millionaire. This stock is Ouster. However, now that you know the stock, you don't just buy and hold it forever without knowing what you're doing. You need to understand why you're buying it. And in this video, I'm going to break it down completely in 5 simple steps. Step 1, the business. Step 2, future. Step 3, analyst. Step 4, financials. And step 5, buying. Now let's move on to step 1, the business. If you're going to buy the company's stock, you need to understand what the business actually does. And there's a nice little excerpt down here that explains it. Ouster Inc. is an American LiDAR technology company. It builds high-resolution digital 3D LiDAR sensors for use in autonomous vehicles, industrial, robotics, drones, mapping, defense, and security systems. Now, this is important because every single one of these sectors are advancing at incredible rates and are responsible for the future. We're going to go more into each one of these sections in step 2. Now, Ouster has recently released an update on how much money the company is actually making. This is also known as an earnings report. It made the stock price jump from $8 to over $11 per share. Now guys, let's move on to step 2, the future. This is where we analyze the future of the business. It's always my favorite step because this is where the opportunities show themselves and it makes me very excited. Step 2, future. Now, what we're going to do here for this step is jump between a couple different tabs with some different research on Ouster. Yes, I did this in my previous video, but we're going to do it again because this is a separate video just for Ouster. Now, first thing we're going to take a look at is a couple different posts from the company's Twitter account. Now, this is very important stuff, guys, because the company's Twitter, if you look at the post, they don't get a whole lot of traction. 37 likes, that's not a lot. So if the Wall Street guys, they have all their data, all their numbers, but people like us, if we take the time to put in the research, we can look at stuff like this where Wall Street is kind of missing it. However, we can pair this kind of research with the data and the numbers, and that makes for the best kind of opportunities. Now let's go through and actually take a look at some of the important posts here. So this one talks about how they're working with Amazon. Now remember, Ouster is a fairly small company, so for them to work with Amazon and Amazon be buying their product consistently while scaling up their robotic products, it's a huge deal. If we scroll a little further down, we can see a post here on Jan 14th that talks about Ouster Blue City. Now this is technology from Ouster that helps people manage their traffic intersections. Here, they announced 120 intersections in Tennessee will now be utilizing Ouster technology. And within the post, a quote, Ouster Blue City already led us to install a crosswalk that resulted in 100% reduction in near-miss incidents on a high-risk city block. Now, that's amazing, right? Because that's just proof that their product works really well. We scroll a little farther, we can see that they collaborate with John Deere. John Deere is trying to move in a more autonomous sector, and they're using LiDAR sensors to do it. A little further down, we can see that they work with Serve Robotics, probably one of the most popular robotics companies out there at the moment. You've probably seen videos of these little robots on the sidewalk. You can see that they work with May Mobility. Now this is a huge one because May Mobility has talked about working with Ouster and building up to 2,000 robotaxi vehicles. And each vehicle uses 5 Ouster sensors. It's a lot of revenue to come. You can also see that they're working with Qualcomm, one of the biggest semiconductor companies in the entire world. Remember that this is a fairly small company, but we see them working with all these bigger companies. It's amazing to me how this company is now way more popular. But again, that's the benefit that comes with this kind of research, is that you see things that a lot of other people don't, and it gives us an early opportunity. All right, guys, let's move on to step 3, analysts. So over here in the bottom right, we can see analyst estimates, and they estimate how much Ouster will grow as a business in the coming years. In 2025, they expect Ouster's revenue to grow by 30%, 2026, 36.5%, and 2027, 56.85%. Now, clearly, analysts expect their revenue to grow exponentially in the coming years. Now, if we look at price targets from analysts, we currently see that there are 5 covering analysts. 4 of them say buy and 1 of them says hold. The average price target is $13.25 per share, which leaves about a 19.91% upside. However, Ouster recently reported their earnings, and I think analysts will come in to raise their price targets pretty soon here. For example, this analyst did some analysis on Ouster after they reported earnings. They posted this article just yesterday, and he gives Ouster a $27 price target per share. I think other analysts will follow suit and raise their price targets soon. Now, guys, let's move on to step 4, financials. If you don't know a whole lot about stocks or investing, this step might be a little harder to understand, but I'll try to explain it so that everyone can understand. Here we have a chart for the gross profit, and we can see that every quarter the gross profit goes up. And what gross profit is how much money you make after selling your products minus the cost of the product. For example, if you sell a glass of lemonade for $1, but it costs you 50 cents to buy the lemons, the sugar, and the water, your gross profit is 50 cents and 50%. Let's also look at how much cash they have on hand. Currently, they have $172 million of cash. Meanwhile, their market cap is around $500 million. So a third of their market cap they have in cash, which is plenty for them to be able to expand their product and business without having to dilute shareholders. Let's take a look at the earnings report and the gross margin metric. This is actually one of the main reasons Ouster is such a good buy right now. So here we can see that GAAP gross margin, remember we talked about gross margin, of 44% compared with 22% in the fourth quarter of 2023 and 38% in the third quarter of 2024. So that means at the same time last year, their gross margin was only 22% compared to now making 44%. But within the last year, that metric has completely doubled. However, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. In the year of 2024, Ouster had a net loss of $97 million. What's important though is that in the year of 2023, they lost a total of $374 million. So they lost far less in 2024, and that's because of the gross margin improvement as well as the increase in the number of sales. As the sales continue to increase and the gross margin improves, it'll start to make a nice profit. Now let's move on to step 5, buying. For this example, I'm going to be using the brokerage Robinhood. I'll leave a couple links for brokerages in the description. Full disclosure, they are my referral links. So if you do use my link to sign up, I will get a little bit of a reward. To buy using Robinhood, all you have to do is click buy OUST and then type in the number of shares that you want. For example, if I'd like to buy 500 right now, I would pay $11.15 per share, and the total cost would be $5,500. That's all for today's video. I hope you learned something, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Hit the subscribe and the like button. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.